Hey everybody, how's it going? Well, we're out here gonna have a little post-breakfast smoke, and we got the old Prisco, the old Pritchard Strong number 0 burning here. Yeah, it's a beautiful day. It's really nice. Pretty productive morning. I had to take the wife to work today. She usually drives herself on my days off, but I need to meet up with her and go somewhere else after work, so it just made more sense for me to drive her there and pick her up after work and then go to the place that we need to instead of her driving home and then going back in that same direction. So anyways. This thing is packed wrong. It's not drawing very smooth. Anyways. Yeah, so we're just enjoying the late morning after a nice breakfast. You know, of course I use my fancy Griswold that I restored that you've all seen so far. And, you know, I just remembered in that video that I was making when I was cooking breakfast in my old skillets that I was going to say something about cast iron that could potentially be unpopular. And contrary to, well, popular belief, cast iron technically isn't a non-stick surface. No. Now, calm down. I'm not attacking cast iron. I love it. I cook with it any chance I get. And there's a trick to it. I want the newcomers to it to understand what that is. Yeah. Now, I'm not authority on cast iron by any means. I just know what works, and works for me. And I've watched enough videos to have an educated, informed opinion about it. Anyway. Is cast iron designed to be a nonstick? Not really. Nothing really is designed to be a nonstick unless it's Teflon. That is a material that is designed to be absolutely 100% non-stick surface, and people love it because it's very convenient and you get good results. But I don't like Teflon because of what's in it and the side effects or the health risks that entail. Now, of course, people say, oh, well, it's fine as long as it's not chipped. Okay, fine. I've seen plenty of Teflon skillets that are chipped. That's hilarious. Some people just drove by. They thought it was the Dodge out here was a Jaguar. They're like, "Oh, cool, Jaguar." I'm like, "Okay, no, that's a Ram. Since when did cats have horns?" Anyways, and it says Dodge right under it. But okay. Anyways, enough of that. So skillets. Now, what a lot of people that don't like cast iron don't like it. Well, why they don't like it is because they probably don't know how to clean it or prepare it properly, season it, and they also hear the misnomers of that you can't use soap and wash them. Now, of course, that was true in the 1890s or whatever, in the early period when most soap contained a lot of lye. You didn't want to use it on your skillet because it's going to take the seasoning off. Now, modern dish soaps are very gentle, very mild. So you can definitely use it a little bit to get some of the grease out, and it won't harm your season. The other thing is that when people cook with them, when they just want to get the fire really hot and start cooking things right away because they're hungry and they just want to get dinner on the table. I understand the rush after work. You just want to eat, so you want to cook faster, and all the higher heat means cooking faster and dinner sooner. Well. This down for a second. I understand that. I completely sympathize with that. I get it. Now, if you want to have a nonstick experience with your cast iron, I would suggest warming. You have to warm up that skillet to no more than 225. Put it in the oven. If you want to have more accuracy, just put it in the oven. Warm up set your temperature for your oven around 250 or 225 or right around there. Warm it up to about 200 degrees, and then when the oven beeps, when it reaches that temperature, then you pull out your skillet, put it on the stove top, set your fire to about medium height, medium temp, maybe medium low, and then add your ingredients. Of course, add a little fat, maybe some oil, so nothing will stick, because even though it is a non-stick seasoned surface, it will want to grab whatever you're adding to your skillet. So heat and cold food, it wants to bond. That's just kind of, that's a scientific proven fact. So you want to add a little grease, and then everything will, you can just keep moving around, because the center of the pan will definitely be more of a hot spot depending on what stove you have, what kind of burner you have, or what kind of electric, whatever. So that's important, just to keep things close to the sides, and then just move things around and just stir it a little bit. And then, you know, the medium heat will keep things cooking, not as fast, but it will keep it from sticking and searing to the bottom of your pan. And then you will have a much more pleasant experience, a lot less sticking. I've seen people cook eggs in the morning at different places when camping and everything, and their cast iron skillet gets coated and caked with egg residue. And I know that's a really hard thing to remove. It is, but there's ways to avoid that. And that is using some butter, or maybe even a little bacon fat. I know the health properties are terrible on that, but using a little bit will keep your eggs from sticking, and also add just a little bit of nice flavor. But yeah, medium heat is really going to be your friend in this. Using high heat will cause things to stick to your pan, and it's going to be frustrating, and it's going to be hard to clean. Now, if you do that, if things do stick to your pan, how you clean it. This is important. Takes a little caution, a little practice, but put that pan back on the fire when you're all done after dinner. Put that pan on your heat, over the heat. Get it warm. Warm it up. Get it kind of hot. Get your tap. If you have really hot tap water, run it really high. Get it hot. Get hot water. Okay? Then once the skillet is starting to smoke a little bit, you think you're going to get all the content sticking to your pan even more, but you're not. So get an oven mitt. Careful. This is going to be hot stuff, so you want to be very careful. Take the skillet and put it under the water. As long as that water's hot to the touch, like you can't hold your hand underneath the water, you will not crack your cast iron. Do not use cold water ever when you're doing this. So throw that under there, and then the hot water will react with the hot skillet, and it will bubble all that stuff up, and it will really loosen anything stuck to that pan. It will. I've done it. This is a tried and true way. So you do that, and then you can scrape all the junk out, and then wipe it out, put it back on the heat, over the fire a little bit, over the heat, and get it warm, and then apply a little Crisco or another fat that you use to season your skillet, and then the heat will open the pores of the cast iron, and it will soak in the oil, and then you wipe any excess out, and then let it sit and dry and cool off, and then you should be good for the next time you use it. So that's kind of the unpopular opinion that I wanted to share originally about cast iron not being a true non-stick surface, and it's not. But if you know how to cook with it, it becomes one. All right, and don't be afraid if something sticks to it. You just clean it. That's all it is. That's all there is. Mm-hmm. It's all about knowing the little secrets, tips and tricks. All right, so what are we going to talk about today? Well, we're already 10 minutes in, and we've already talked about cast iron, and we have a nice lantern burning here. You're probably curious about the pawls, right? Everyone's curious about the pawls. Hey, have you cleaned up the pawls yet? Have you done anything about the pawls? Have you taken that silver paint off? Well, I'm in the process of that right now. Mm-hmm. So, come with me and I'll show you what's going on over here. Okay? Take you on a little field trip here. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Nice and slow. Nice and slow. We'll come to the edge of the garage. Here's the Here's my Jaguar. All right. Now, right here. There it is. Look at that. Look at that. Yeah, so I got the easy off on there, and you can see it's really kind of taking the paint off, and it's turning it all brown, so that means that the rust is being dealt with right now. So there is a lot of rust under that silver paint. You could see the texture in the paint and what we're kind of dealing with. So it's getting kind of dealt with right now. So we shall have a happy, clean lantern before too long. Before too long. Don't pay attention to those lanterns on the floor. They're just there because I have nowhere else to put them right now. Yeah. Okay, now we're back to home base. Took a little field trip, and you have an update on the Pauls. It's getting dealt with. Yeah, let's get dealt with. There we go. Okay, perfect. So, does that answer your burning question? Yes, I hope it does, because well, I've been meaning to get around to it. Didn't even have to relight it. Oh, backlash. Backlash! Yeah. I'll fix that here. Yeah. Alright, cool. Rock and roll. Well, now it went out. Ha! Alright. Anyways. Well, Rob, you showed us the Pauls. Great. Awesome. Aren't you forgetting something? Well, maybe. Move this guy over to there a little bit. What am I forgetting? Oh, yes. The main event. The special piece. So, you've all known, well, those who follow me on my Facebook and my posts and things on the Tubular Lantern group, I've been wanting an early lantern. I mean early. I have early lanterns, but I mean early. Talking 70s, early 80s. Yeah. Now, the early tubulars, they're interesting because, well, the early patents were very basic. Some founts came in 3 or 4 pieces that they soldered together. Air tubes were like early plumbing. You know, they had elbow joints and all that stuff. And then they didn't even have a filler spout. They just had a burner and a cone and a glass globe. The globe plate didn't lift. Nothing was fancy. It was stationary. You had a little hole in the plate to insert for lighting the wick and all that stuff. So they're primitive. And some of them had a spring top. Now the spring was not there to help lift the globe. It was just to keep the globe retaining ring down on the globe so it didn't move. And then you would pull up on that globe, on that chimney or crown. You pull up on the spring and it would lift that so you could remove the globe. That's all it was for. Okay, that's from the 70s. Now this, what I'm about to share with you, has a last patent date of 1878. Okay, I was born 100 years later. Anyways, this thing is kind of ticking a box that I've wanted to tick for a while. And this is a Dietz blowhole. What do you mean by blowhole? Is it a whale? Is it a mammal lantern? Well, that's what I mean right there. See that? Has a little hole. Has a little mound with a hole. It looks like it's got like a, anyways. It looks funny, but it actually serves a purpose. And so if you turn the wick down a little bit, then you could just blow air through there and it would extinguish your flame. So you didn't have to remove the globe or blow it out some other awkward way, because while this is burning, the globe gets warm or hot, especially up here, it's hot. So you want to take it out, that's hard. This is probably easily made in the very early 80s, maybe 79, 80, right around there. It's been painted black at one point in time. It's very old black paint. So I think it's going to stay. I'm not going to touch this thing. I really don't want to touch it. I like the way it looks. It has a really cool look about it. It does. But you know, it has some repairs to the bottom, and it is sweating a little bit, but it's holding oil more or less. So I will be resealing those repair jobs sooner than later, but since it's not dripping, it's not like a real chronic problem, I am going to rock and roll just for the time being. So we're gonna light it. You're gonna see me light this lantern the first time for you guys. I did light it last night, and I burned it, and I posted a picture on the Tubular Lantern group. So for those who follow me on that group, then you've already seen it. But this is the first public lighting for the channel. Well, I had pretty good luck with these things. This box was proving to be a pretty good box, and now, you know, you win some, you lose some. So there's a little hole in the glow plate. So you just take your match. There we go. Now as it warms up, it'll even out. But yeah, look at that flame. It's not terrible. It's funny shaped a little bit, but as it warms up, it will even out. It will balance out. But there you go. That is an 1879, 1880 era Dietz lantern. Now it doesn't say Dietz on it at all, anywhere. How do I know it's a Dietz? Well, it actually says on the thumb wheel. You see that? Yeah. Anyways, it's a cool piece. It's nice to have something this early. I've been wanting one for a long time. Now I have a shout out to conduct to Mr. Dustin Lloyd. Dustin acquired this with a lift wire that he found on eBay late one night, and they were a combined price for the two lanterns, and he bought them. And he shared the victory of his with me and Messenger. And then I says, hey, if you have a blowhole already, I would be interested if you'd be willing to part with it. So we talked about it and everything, and we came to an agreement and a price, and I bought it. And he was gracious enough to let it go and let me have it. And he shipped it, and it just got here yesterday. Yeah. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. I like it. And you know, it's as fun as it would be to have one that's earlier with no filler cap and all that stuff. That would only signify that it's earlier. That's really the only cool thing about it, because it's a pain in the neck to have to remove everything just to fill it up. This makes things a lot easier. And I like a fuel cap on my lanterns. I mean, if I find a spring top without a filler spout and all that jazz, of course I'd try and buy it if I can afford it. These do go for some money. They're not cheap. Anything earlier than that definitely bring in some big money. And of course there's others that are made later or at the same time that do bring in big money. It depends on who made it, what model it is, how rare it is. All that computes into a value. Now, you know, people come in that really know nothing about these lanterns, and they have one or a couple that belong to a family member, and they want to get them appraised because they don't know what they're worth. And you know, they see things on eBay and they think they're worth gold, and what they have might be just a common Monarch or Hilo or whatever, and you know, their understanding of these things are very low, and that's not their fault. We're not required to really know about these things. They're kind of an unknown collectible still, even now. So, you know, the best thing to do is look at the completed listings. So you go on eBay and you type in whatever lantern model or whatever. You just type in tubular lantern, and you look at the completed or sold listings. You go down and you tick the two boxes, completed, sold listings, and you will see what some of them are selling for. You'll get a better idea, because let's let's be frank about it. There's very common lanterns on eBay right now as I speak that people are asking over $200-300 for, like a Hilo or a Monarch or whatever, because they put the tagline railroad on it. And you know, because it has a red globe or something like that, then it's all automatically a railroad lantern. And you know, yeah, there's a good variety of railroad lanterns that do go for big money because railroad collectibles are very popular. But knowing the difference between a railroad lantern and a barn lantern or a general purpose or utility lantern, it's very important. Not everyone gets that. But like I said, it's not a knowledge that most people seek out. So when they just see an oil lantern, they just like, oh, that's a railroad lantern, I can make a lot of money off of it. And I'm not against anyone making money, but let's be realistic about what we're dealing with. Yeah. Anyways, this thing is a pretty cool piece. It's a really nice lantern. I love it. So thank you, Dustin. Thank you again for allowing me the opportunity to talk you out of it. I like it. I think it's really cool. It just has a real neat attitude. It really doesn't have any rust on it per se. It just has some, you know, flaking old black paint. And I love it. I think it just has the right look. It really does. The cone is brass and the cap is brass, of course, as is the order of the day. The burner is brass as well. It had a wick. Is that wick still here? Yeah. It came with a wick in it, but it was very short. Not much of it left. So I just put a fresh new wick in there as a 5/8 size and rock and roll. But yeah, so that's it. This is the globe it came with. It's a nice hot blast style. I might find something that's marked, hopefully. We'll see. But anyway, that's it. That's the main event. Yay! Cool. Okay. So we will we'll wrap things up now. It's over 20 minutes now. So thanks again for joining me, as always. And the next video, we should have a finished product of the Paul's Leader number O and see what's under that icky silver paint. And hopefully it's a good lantern. I'm excited about this because you know me, I've wanted one of those. I wanted a Winfield. I finally ticked that box, and I wanted an earlier hot blast Paul's with that unique guard wire style. Anyways, it happened. So for all those new collectors out there, be patient and you will find something great. That's all it takes. Collecting is something that you can't achieve overnight. It does take patience, and if you know the collectors to talk to who might have something they'll let loose with, awesome, and you probably get a better deal than online. Or you might not. Anyways, best of luck to everyone in your treasure hunting, and let's keep on keeping on. See you guys next week. All right, bye-bye.